Man, I wish my flares were as volatile as that guy's.
If you just had that thought run through your head, you're in the right place. I'm the engineer, and today I'll be showing you how to create some makeshift flares with items that can be bought at the store. If you're 21 or older. When made correctly, you'll notice that the flare is burning consistently with minimal smoke, lots of sparks, and it's not exploding my hand or melting my face off. Here's a great example of what a flare should not do. Now that we know the difference between a good flare and an extreme hand warmer, let's go over what we need to make a good flare. First, go into your cleaning cabinet and get out your explosive powder. I'm using muzzle-loading propellant, but you can use any kind of slow-burning fuel. Now, muzzle-loading propellant isn't a slow-burning fuel, which is why I'm using sodium bicarbonate, or just baking soda for everyone who isn't a nerd. Adding baking soda to your fuel will slow the burn rate and give it a yellow hue when burnt. By adding iron filings, the flares will spray orange and yellow sparks. Bentonite clay is great for packing the ends of flares. Most cat litters are made out of this kind of clay. You can usually get litter from a cat by asking it nicely, but sometimes they require a trade to part with it, such as a herring or a live mouse. Alright, now it's time for the lightning round. You're gonna need fuses, a pen, a hammer, some tape, a spoon, it looks like toilet paper rolls, those are scissors, fire, but not literally, yeah, just like a lighter, and something to mix it with. Alright, it's time to create our mixture. Get out your fuel, baking soda, and what works best is 3 parts fuel to 1 part baking soda. It is incredibly important that you use baking soda if you're using a quick burning fuel. Without it, you'll end up creating an oversized firecracker. If you're using a slow burning fuel, such as potassium nitrate and sugar, baking soda does not need to be added. Alright, with our ingredients all mixed, let's give it a test. For forming the tube, we're going to need a piece of construction paper, a mold for rolling the tube, and duct tape, or super glue. If you don't have construction paper, you can improvise with multiple layers of paper or a toilet paper roll. Once the tube is completed, I like to cut off the ends for a cleaner look. Now get out your fuel and iron. Add a decent amount of iron and mix it in. Keep in mind that every single grain will be a spark, so in a way you are adding as many sparks as you would like to have. Mix it well and then set that aside. Now get out your litter and your mortar and pestle. You preferably want litter without scent or additives. Grind it until it is a fine powder. Now set that aside for later. Fuses can be made at home, but it's much easier to break down a pack of firecrackers. Tear the firecracker in half. Then take a pair of pliers and crush the filament around the fuse. It should now easily come out. Now it's time to put everything together. Get out your tube, cat litter, fuel, fuses, a piece of aluminum foil, and the mold you used to shape the tube with. First add your cat litter to the tube. Keep the tube flush against the table. Now take your mold and use it to pack the cat litter. Make sure to really pack it. You don't want the end to fall out. Fill your tube with powder about 1 centimeter from the top. Now add your fuse and get that piece of aluminum foil and use it to create a cap for the top. While you can use cat litter to pack the other side, we want the fuel to be as uncompressed as possible. With the flare assembled, let's go test it out. I didn't really want to test my janky flares myself. Luckily, I found this weirdo wandering through the forest who was willing to help me out. This first flare was actually made with sugar and potassium nitrate. This stuff burns way slower and way less bright, but it makes a ton of smoke. Strangely enough, the smoke also smells sweet. These next 2 flares were made with the mix we made earlier. And that's how you make your own flares. I've been your host, The Engineer. Thank you for giving me the privilege of your time. And if you stick around, I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.